Hey everybody, it's Andrew Martin from andrewmartin.energy with your December 2017 energy transmission video. Hallelujah, praise Jesus. We are almost to the end of this year. Whew, I for one could not be happier that this linear 12-month experience that we call a year, and this one in particular that we call 2017, is coming to a close. This year has not been easy. It has been a challenge at every turn. This has been a master class in how to live and experience and create and thrive in these higher frequencies. It has been such a powerful opportunity for us to begin to really anchor into this new reality that we are in. Did you catch that? We're here. We're not going anywhere. We've arrived. But oftentimes the beginnings can be just as challenging as the endings. And December is calling us to get really, really, really clear, to reflect us back to that very deep, profound inner space so that we can proceed into 2018, which, by the way, is a master year. It's an 11 year. And that we can create consciously, deliberately, with compassion and with love, and with that clean slate of letting all of that old stuff go and making sure that anything within us that is unresolved or unloved or that's been sort of swept to the side has been unearthed, and that we have shifted our relationship in a way that allows us to feel like we're right with it. Before we get into it too deeply, I want to make a quick announcement about my Mastery Mentorship program. I am so excited to have this program live. Over the years, I've had many people ask me, Andrew, do you do any like coaching stuff or something more intensive? Or, you know, the sessions that we do are great, but I want something that is really digging in and opening up and is more long-term. And so the Mastery Mentorship program is a 6-week program that you and I work one-on-one with, really digging in and anchoring you into that place of sovereignty. It is the reclamation of your crown. It is the reclamation of the title of Master Creator. It is sitting yourself on that throne of sovereignty and owning that and all the responsibilities that come with that title. This program is not for everybody. I'm limiting myself to 4 mentorship clients at a time. As a special offer, I am offering the program at a discounted rate for the first 4 people that sign up. First come, first served. Once those 4 slots are filled, it goes back to the regular rate. Go to my website, andrewmartin.energy, and click on the tab that says Mastery Mentorship. You can read all about it. This work is not for everybody. I'm going to be very, very clear about this. It is not for everybody. And so there is a 30-minute intake call that is required before we agree to work together. It's a free call, but that is really an opportunity for you and I to have a conversation about what it is that you are expecting, where you see yourself going, what it is that you think you need to work on or want to work on, or what is the reason that you are interested in this program. And then you and I will make the decision. Actually, I will make the decision as to whether or not it feels like the right fit for us to work together, because this work is very, very personal. It's very deep. It's very real. And it is also very transformational. So I'm really excited. So go check it out, andrewmartin.energy, and click on the Mastery Mentorship. But on with the video. You know, I don't want to rehash too much what I've been talking about in November. If you watched my November videos, you know that it was a difficult month for me, and I was very honest about that. November was a very uncomfortable month. November was not about a mental reckoning or understanding. It was about sitting in discomfort, period. It was about relinquishing the thought or the illusion that I have any control. It was sitting with my own personal fear of powerlessness. Powerlessness is something that I contended with as a very young boy and oftentimes throughout my life. And it was something that I didn't really understand my relationship with until this past month, and it really forced me to sit with it. I had no choice but to sit with this aspect of myself that was kind of forcing me. I mean, it wasn't forcing me, but I say that oftentimes on the spiritual journey, free will feels like the free will that you have when you're in the military. It's like, well, you kind of have free will, but not really. Like, you don't have to do the push-ups, but if you don't, your life's going to be even more miserable. So November was like it was like no escape. I mean, I've been talking a lot about how 2017 has felt like cul-de-sacs and switchbacks and dead ends. and bait and switch. And November was so much about that for me. There was no getting out of this work. And I know that many of us had a very similar experience with feeling like, oh my God, I thought this stuff was gone. I thought I had resolved it. I thought it was gone. And here it is again. So you're not alone. If you were feeling that experience in November, you were not the only one. And December is moving us to this place where it is time to get really, really real. Because here's what I see. We have already arrived in this new energetic space. We have already anchored into this new reality. The old paradigms and the old structures have collapsed, and we are now in this new place. We have crossed the threshold, but the beginnings are oftentimes just as confusing and just as challenging as the endings, right? We always talk about the chaos and the destruction and it falling apart, and we just say, oh, I can't wait to get through this ending. I just want to let this chaos go. And then we get there and we say, well, this doesn't feel like relief. This doesn't feel easier. And it's going back to that mindset that, it's not about escaping our experience. It's not about transcending our humanness. It is about embracing it fully and allowing the infinity of all that we are to move through our humanness. Now, that doesn't necessarily make it easier, but I think about that, the collapse of, like, let's say, there's a catastrophic experience and the city or the building or the structure is demolished. And we say, I can't wait to get through this, right? But the rebuilding, the sorting through the rubble, the sort of planning it all out and trying to figure out which end is up is oftentimes just as challenging as the destruction itself. I had a reading recently with a really dear friend, Renee Caruso is her name. She's an incredible reader. Her tarot readings are off the frickin' charts, man. And she and I traded readings last week, and amazing information came through, but the most powerful thing that came through, and I'm going to share this with you because I feel like this is kind of the theme for December. Where have you sacrificed boldness for comfort? Another way to think of that question is, where have you sacrificed pushing yourself to try new things or to take risks or to be the bold one or to be the rebel or to be the one that rocks the boat for safety and comfort and being liked and being accepted? And myself, I feel, if I'm honest with myself, a lot of this past year was about chasing comfort. I've lived in 4 different cities this year. The comfort zone has been demolished. I packed it all up and moved to New York from Seattle. I was in New York for 5 months and that wasn't it. So then I made a 2-month stop in Kansas with my family, and then here I am in San Francisco. It was like the implosion and the resurrection and the implosion and the resurrection and the implosion and the resurrection over and over and over again. And if I'm honest with myself, a lot of why I feel like I had so many spark and fizzle experiences was that I was trying to do everything to get to that place where I could just be comfortable, where I didn't really have to work anymore, where I didn't really have to challenge myself anymore. And I get it, right? We have been through the ringer the past 5 years, and I'm gonna be frank, I'm tired of being uncomfortable. I am tired of it. This past month was me just collapsing in this heap of exhaustion, emotionally drained, physically drained, mentally drained, financially drained. There was nothing left. And all I had in front of me was my ability to sit with myself in compassion and understanding and love. And that was the only thing that saved me. And so now, as I stand on the threshold of this new year, the birdies are testifying. Thank you, Franny and Manny. Even though I put the towels on their cage to try to convince them that it was nap time, maybe give them a timeout so that they wouldn't be noisy, not working. And this forced me to some new places. It forced me to ask questions in a very, very real way. And these are the questions that I have for you. Where have you sacrificed boldness for comfort? I know that a lot of my work and a lot of my frustration with my work, and I shared that with you in November, talking about how my events had dried up, like I wasn't getting the registration for my online events. The events in LA weren't popping. It was just like, it seemed like everywhere I turned, things were just, drying up and evaporating. And I wasn't really sure why. And then this morning, in this moment of clarity, it came to me that the work that I came here to do and the work that I am moving into is not like anything that's ever been done. And I am not alone in this. You are the only one who can do what you came here to do. And I know that so often when we move into this new place, the mind hates mystery. The mind wants a model. The mind wants something to copy so that it can say, well, it's been successful for this person, or it was successful for me in the past, so I'm just going to copy that or recreate that and kind of rephrase it and put my own spin on it and call it mine and call it new. But the soul says, sorry, boo, you can't do that. You didn't come here to parrot someone else. You didn't come here to just copy what someone else is doing and rehash it and call it your own. And that's what a lot of what I had been doing, moving into this practice full time when I started it 4 years ago. I've never really known what I'm doing. I'm just showing up and doing it as I am guided to. And as my practice gets bigger and bigger, the risk for me felt greater and greater. And the fear of failure and the fear of moving outside of the comfort zone got larger and larger. And I found myself just trying to copy and parrot what other people were doing. And I wasn't having success. And then I would sit here in frustration and say, well, why are they having success? Just regurgitating the same old shit, and I'm not. It's because what I came here to do has never been done before. And the same goes for you. What you came here to do can only be done by you. And so if you are sacrificing boldness for comfort, you're not being honest with the work that you came here to do. And we've talked about this before. The human experience exists because the soul, the source, wants to know itself in a way it never has before. And so if we're just showing up kind of phoning it in and repeating the same old thing, no, it doesn't wash, right? And in this new energetic environment, if it's not authentic, if it is not you, if it is not your soul blueprint, your energy signature, that thumbprint that only you carry, if it is not that fractal geometric expression of who and what you really are, it will not float. And so we have to take a risk. We have to be bold. We have to say, I don't know what I'm doing and I am not comfortable doing it, but I'm going to do it anyway. We have to have the tough conversation. We have to have ask the difficult questions. We have to be willing to hear the answers that we don't want to hear. We have to feel the things that we have not been wanting to feel. We have to think the thoughts that we have not been wanting to think. We have to listen to the same old stories one more time, oftentimes to just say enough, I'm never telling it again. The analogy that I've been getting a lot, especially in my readings lately, has been, it's like Ellis Island. We've arrived, by the way. We're in this new reality, but it's like we're on Ellis Island, and the authorities at the island are saying, nope, sorry, you can't bring that in with you. Sorry, you thought you had packed accordingly, but you still got some shit you can't take with you into the new world. So go over there in the corner and sort through your luggage with everybody else and figure it out. So here are the questions for December. What needs to be parented, loved, and nurtured in your life, in you? And this hits on all levels. Is it physical? Is it mental? Is it emotional? Is it energetic? What is still asking for release? For love? What is still asking for acceptance and compassion that is deeper than any you have ever experienced yet? How can you parent and nurture and love yourself in the way that you have needed to be parented and nurtured and loved, but have yet to feel? Even the best meaning parents, even the parents of the year, the parents of the universe are still gonna fuck their kids up in some way because they don't know who these tiny creatures are. They don't know what this tiny creature who grows into an adult came to fulfill and came to do and came to experience and came to build or to lose, right? Or to suffer or to experience. You don't know. You just don't know. And so even the best meaning parents are still gonna get it wonky a little bit. And so this is where we are. You cannot pass if you are not willing to love and parent and nurture yourself in that way. If you are still holding on because you want the safe answer, if you're still holding back because I don't want to say it because I don't want him to be mad at me, or I don't want to tell her the truth because I want her to like me. Nope. No, it's just not going to work. You have to be honest. You have to be true. You have to be authentic, and you have to be real with what sits in here, and only you know what that feels like. So for some of us, it's going to be physical. For some of us, it's going to be mental. For some of us, it's going to be emotional. And some of us, it's going to be energetic. And for some of us, it's going to be a little bit of all of it. For me, a lot of what I had to sit with was just the emotional discomfort that was physically in my body. I had to sit. I mean, you can even feel me sort of tensing up, and like my butt clenches even when I'm just talking about it, because it still makes me uncomfortable to think about where I was. But what it showed me was the parts of me within myself that are still so desperate to control, so desperate to hide, so desperate to do anything for love and acceptance. And the only way that I could unstick them, unroot them, and unmire them from the muck, the only way that I could move forward was with them in tow. And here's the thing. A lot of it, we are letting go of patterning. We are letting go of mental patterning, programming. We are letting go of physical patterning and programming, emotional, energetic. And a lot of this is stuff that we agreed to do, right? A lot of this is stuff, if you haven't read, there's a post that I posted, Through the Eye of a Needle. It's a written post. It's on my blog. It's also on my Facebook page. This goes into some detail. I share some experiences that I had with clients as of late. And it talks a lot about the things that we are all letting go in our own way. A lot of this is just programming, right? As infinite beings, they said, yeah, I'll go into Earth and I'll be I'll be a human in the 3D experience, and yeah, I'll transcend it and help to break down this 3D experience, and yeah, blah, 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 all the stuff that we're going through. So a lot of what we're contending with were sort of the old rules and regulations, right? It's like, well, if you're going to be this infinite being, but sort of move into this lower density, there's some things that you need to say yes to. It's sort of like you can't scuba dive without a scuba suit, right? So some of the stuff that we are letting go is just old programs that are defunct. It's like old software. You just overwrite it and empty the trash bin. So here's the thing. Letting go of this patterning doesn't always require us to have the emotional experience of it. And what I mean by that, and it's interesting because I was having this experience and I had a client share the same thing with me, is that she was triggered. And I had the same experience. I was triggered emotionally. And she was sharing her experience. She was deeply emotionally triggered, so triggered that she took the day off from work and went home. And she's a practitioner as well, so she knows what she's doing. And she said that she's a therapist by trade, and she wants to start moving into more like energetic, intuitive stuff. And she said that she got home and she tried to recreate it, right? She was trying to get herself back into that emotional place so she could release it, and she couldn't muster it. I had the same thing. So this is where our master skills come into play. You are the only one that knows what truth feels like, and you have to be the one to decide. Is this something that I need to feel and experience emotionally or physically or mentally or energetically so that I can let it move through me and release it? Or is it something that I just need to let go and move on? Is it like a dead-end road and I see it coming and I go, well, I could make another right turn into this place that I have made the right turn into 1,000 times before, and I could make another right turn and realize that, oh, this is a dead end, and then leave. Or I could just say, no, I don't go there anymore. It's a dead end. So don't get stuck in this idea that it's always about releasing and it's always about healing and it's always about integrating, but don't use that as an excuse to get sloppy and avoid what you know needs to be experienced. And the only way that you're going to know is by sitting with it and getting in there. Everything that we're doing still needs to be chosen in the physical through action. There is another huge piece. A lot of us are feeling this stop and this start, or that manifestation is challenging or difficult, or why isn't it happening? Why isn't shit popping up? Are things wonky? Are things not moving or flowing? Do you feel like I thought I had it, but it's not right? And what happened? And this is not what I expected, and it all fell apart. Have you set clear intentions? Have you done your work to get clear within about what you even really want? Are you asking for something that you kind of used to want? Are you asking for something because you saw someone else do it and you think, oh, that's a good way to live. Maybe I'll just copy what they're doing? Can't do that. Have you taken action? Have you made physical choices and changes in your reality to reflect and support your intentions? You know, I've said this before, the universe is not Amazon, it's not Santa Claus. You don't just get it for being good. You know, just because I clicked the button and said, I want this, I still have to take the action and the choices to make it a reality. Until such time as I can instantly manifest again, until such time as I can teleport again, until such time as I can just pull shit out of the air and create a, you know, a seemingly solid structure out of the field of, you know, source field, you got to take action. And you also have to be willing to let go and know that maybe now isn't the time for action. Do you see what I'm saying? It feels very unstable. It feels very like 1 minute I'm being called to move and the next minute I'm being told to stop. And 1 minute I want this and then the other minute I want that. You just got to take it moment by moment, second by second, breath by breath, and get really clear and proceed. And trust that in the moment, whatever is still required will show itself. The last full moon of this year is coming up. I think it's this weekend. It's December 3rd, I believe. It's a super moon. So this is a perfect opportunity to let go of stuff, to set some intention. I'm going to do a full moon ritual video. I did a new moon ritual video for the new moon, and I'll be doing another one for the full moon because I think it's important for us to have practical ritual and practical ceremony to help us focus our intentions, because don't ever for a second underestimate the power of physical action. We are physical, incarnate, flesh and blood beings, and the part of the rules of living in this experience is that it is physical. So if we're not taking action and we're not taking, you know, steps and we're not making choices and changes to support our intentions, we're just cutting ourselves off at the knee. So December can be tricky because it feels like a lot of mixed signals and it feels like a lot of, you know, confusion. It's like the static. But you just close your eyes, click, 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 click off all those other radio voices. Click off the voice of what my parents want. Click off the voice of what my friends say. Click off the voice of what my kids and my spouse and my partner or my girlfriend or my boyfriend and my boss and the news and the church and my religion and this thing and that thing and the government and this. Just click it all off. And take a breath and just sit and allow. Allow it to reveal itself. Allow it to present itself. Allow yourself to be guided by yourself. Allow. That's really what a lot of December is about, is just allowing. Because also we're dealing with this timeline collapse. Things are still, you know, 2017 has been a lot about these collapses and a lot of these, you know, endings of old realities, and we have seen this massive integration. It's like all of these aspects of self just crashing in on us, and we've been integrating them, and so we've been expanding our field, and now we're so much brighter and so much wider than we have ever been before energetically. Even if you can't see it, I know I see it when I tune into it. But it takes a minute to get used to functioning in this place again. So be compassionate with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Speak lovingly to yourself. Choose things that you know feel good. Avoid things that don't feel good anymore. The mind is always going to try to go back to what it knows, so you may find yourself being drawn to these old relationships with coping mechanisms, you know, drugs, alcohol, food, sex, all of that. Shopping, avoiding, numbing, you know, self-medicating. This time of year, especially energetically and especially around the holidays, we're so bombarded by so much, right? Family and expectation and, you know, deadlines and the end of the year and just the pressure. And it's so easy to spin out because, again, the mind hates mystery. It just wants to know where it's going and how it's going to get there and what's going to be there when it arrives, so it can just take its bra off and relax and be done with it. And it doesn't work that way. So here's an affirmation that I want to share with you. And this is something that came to me when I was in the midst of it over November. And I really get the sense that a lot of what I went through in November is what a lot of us are going to be experiencing in December, because, you know, as a way shower and as a frequency holder, a lot of times I get the dubious distinction of going through these things first so that I can share with you what I culled and the nuggets that I unearthed from this experience. So here's an affirmation. When you're having a difficult time, and whether it's mental, physical, emotional, or energetic, again, doesn't matter, and it may be all of them at once, but you just start with this affirmation. You take a breath and you say, if you want to write this down, now would be a good time to get a pen and paper. I allow my thoughts to be present. I allow myself to be present with my thoughts. I allow my feelings to be present. I allow myself to be present with my feelings. I allow my emotions to be present. I allow myself to be present with my emotions. I allow my body to be present. I allow myself to be present with my body. You are the sovereign. You are the master creator. Your allowance of your experience, without trying to escape it, without trying to avoid it, without trying to understand it or to solve it. That is the grace of the benevolent sovereign who says, there's nothing you can ever say or do that will place you outside of my love for you. It's okay to feel what I feel. It's okay to think what I think. It's okay to have whatever reaction I am having. It's okay to want what I want. But I don't have to let it carry me on a wild goose chase or feel like I'm, strapped to a runaway horse and that I am powerless. I allow it. I give it permission to be here and to express itself through me. And once I allow it and I stop fighting it and I just say, all right, mind, body, spirit, self, emotions, bring it on. I allow it. And once you allow it, that's when you get to decide what action you need to take. So whether it's just saying, yeah, I allowed it, and I was like, you know what, that's the old thing that I've always done, so no, we're not going there anymore, boo. Come on, come over here. We're not doing that anymore. I don't need to have an experience. I don't need to talk about it. I don't need to process it. I don't need to heal it. I just need to remind myself that we don't do that anymore. We're done. Moving on. Or maybe it is a big emotional release. So I allow my emotions to be present and I allow myself to be present with my emotions and I feel, fuck, there is something big bubbling up inside of me. So just allow it. Allow whatever it is to emerge and then you'll know what to do. Allow it first. Allow it, accept it, acknowledge it, and then decide. Don't try to run. Don't try to fight. Don't try to escape. But also know that you don't always have to heal and integrate anymore. We've exited this, healed and broken, healed and broken, healed and broken. As I've said before, sometimes the last thing to heal is the idea that there's anything to be healed. And then we're moving towards the 21st, which I feel is when this pressure cooker is going to be released a little bit. That's when the return of the light during the solstice or the equinox. I can never remember why. I think it's the solstice. Why can't I ever remember? The light returns, the December 21st. And that's when I feel like, a sigh of relief, and we can move into 2018, the master year, and really begin to proceed. So be patient with yourself, be kind with yourself, and be present. Be present with yourself, relentless and tenacious and unforgiving with your presence. Do not for a second let anything take you off the path of your own presence and your own awareness in the moment with yourself. Be benevolent, be loving, be compassionate, and be kind. Thank you for watching. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.